from which all the other ideas radiate like spokes. For Plato, this is the so-called theory of ideas, or theory of forms, though both terms are misleading, for they're not ideas in anybody's mind, they're not concepts, and they're not geometrical forms, shapes, or appearances. They're objective truths, objective realities that are not visible to the eye of the body, but only of the mind. But the mental eye that sees them is not merely the eye of reasoning or intelligence in the narrow modern sense, but the eye of contemplation or intellectual intuition. There's a third reason it's misleading to call it Plato's theory of forms, because it's not a theory, first of all. It's an insight. It's a sudden, almost mystical experience. Mystical in the sense that it's an insight into something absolute, but it's not mystical in the sense of being irrational. In fact, it's supremely rational. This single big idea that defines Platonism could be called the theory of big ideas, because the Platonic ideas are bigger than any ideas inside of minds, and also they're bigger than concrete material things outside of minds. They're bigger than both of us, bigger or realer than either concepts or things. They are the standards or patterns for all concepts and all things, and they account for the unity between concepts and things. For instance, our ideas of justice or squareness or humanness can correspond to just things or square things or human things only because both our ideas and those things participate in the same Platonic form, justice or squareness or humanness. This big idea of Plato's is most famously expressed in the Republic, the single most famous book in the history of philosophy. Books become famous and remembered because they're loved. And the Republic is loved, I think, not for its politics, which are absurd, but for its psychology, which is the world's first, by the way, and above all, for one short passage, the most famous in the whole history of philosophy, the parable of the cave, in which Plato invites us to come with him out of our small, comfortable, conventional little shadowland into a startlingly larger world outside this cave, and see those realities of which these shadows are shadows. When we do that, we will at first certainly be confused and blink when we first see this sunlight. The reaction of my students to Plato's theory of ideas is typically that of Horatio to Hamlet when he first sees the ghost whom he did not previously believe in. While Horatio is in this amazed state of mind, Hamlet says to him, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamed of in your philosophy." That's the essential point of Platonism: moreness, transcendence, another kind of reality outside our cave. The tendency of typically modern thought is just the opposite: reductionism, debunking, demythologizing, that there are fewer things in heaven and earth, that is, in objective reality, than in our philosophies. The modern tendency is to contract, to reduce. And I think the reason for this is clear. Only when we reduce the complex to the simple and the mysterious to the clear can we comprehend it scientifically and conquer it technologically. That's our essential modern project, our main claim to fame, our great success story. Plato's project is the opposite: not to conquer things by making them smaller, but to let ourselves be conquered by something greater. Modern scientific truths are like poker chips with which we can calculate and win. Our mind encloses such truths and uses them. They work, and they work very well. But Plato's truth is like a cathedral which we humbly bow to enter. It encloses us, we do not enclose it. But when we bow, we become taller, and we feel we are in a larger world when we are in a cathedral, or in Plato's philosophy. The Platonic ideas are not in our mind, we are in them. They are not our servants, they are our masters. That's why we experience awe and wonder at them. Most philosophies don't have that power over our souls. When we speak of awe and wonder, we don't usually think of modern philosophers. But I've described only the psychological effect of the idea that I've labeled the heart of Platonism. Can we be a little more specific about what it means? We can define it in three different ways: either very broadly, or very narrowly, or somewhere between those two extremes. Very broadly, it means what the Greeks called logos.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.